Well, good morning. And how you doing? All right, here we go. Good afternoon, whatever we're doing. I have given all mine a star chart, and I hope they have filled it out to be like this. They are supposed to have shown me before they started the video. So this is your non-proportional because you have a plus sign. So adding or subtracting anything in a situation makes that situation not proportional. Proportional is only multiplication. Then for area, because big B represents the area of the base, we're going to put our big B here in the middle. For a triangle, it's used for surface area. For a rectangle, it's used for surface area. We never use a trapezoid. And for a circle, it's only used in our volume formulas. I added this, SA and V, because for some reason my students get confused. They can't read surface area and volume. Don't ask me why. They go to the wrong line. That's because you're not using your mathematics chart as you are doing your problems. You're just writing down a formula and going. And I understand when the formula is the same every single time, I get why you do that. Don't get me wrong. But when you are in a situation where you have a mixed practice, you need to be using this sheet. You need to be looking at your formulas. Okay? So let's go on. So today our goal is I can use a formula for the surface area of a cylinder to solve problems. So here we go. We're doing cylinders now. All right. So surface area of a cylinder is our last one that we're going to be doing for surface area. And we're just going to follow the steps. It says steps to find surface area of a cylinder. Write down the formula needed. Well, we're going to go to surface area and we're going to go to cylinder. And if you notice, there is no big B in this formula. Lateral is 2 pi RH, and total is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. All right? So it says write it down. So SA equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. All right, so we wrote down the formula. It says circle the base, circle my base, okay? Which is a circle, okay? It's always a circle, all right? And label the radius. So the radius is halfway across, if you remember, so R is equal to 3. If there is a diameter, remember to divide by 2 to find the radius, okay? Boy, this is sure not focused very nicely, is it? I know. I just can't seem to get this all focused in and working correctly. I don't know why. This is this new machine that I just got, but it's an old version of the one I was using, and it just doesn't focus as well. Sorry. Okay. Label the remaining number on the cylinder as the height. So this is my H. Okay. It says plug into the formula and cross off in the total surface area formula. Replace R and H with the values you found. So let's look at what we've got. We've got 2 times, and I'm using a times sign because remember, we're going to get decimals, and it makes it a big mess when you use a dot, and then you have decimals in the formula. You get confused which one is which. And leave lots of space. Make this with lots of space, okay, between your numbers. Times pi times R, which is 3, times H, plus, and you notice I make my plus sign so I can read it. A lot of you are doing multiply there. 2 times pi times R squared. What did I do wrong? Anybody know? What did I do here? I didn't put in my number for my H, did I? I just put an H. So I need to go back and put in this 6. So remember, this H is the height of the prism, okay? All right, so now, we're having trouble rounding. So we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, the total in the end, all right? I understand that this may get confusing, and I'm going to teach some of you a trick that if you can remember it, it's great. So here we go. If you look at place value, here's my decimal point, okay? These are my whole numbers. All these are all my whole numbers on the left side of my decimal point. This, and I'm going to write it on the side so you can see it. The first number is my tenths. Okay? All right, the second number is my hundredth. Okay? If you want to round to this hundredths, if you could remember that this is the first number after the decimal, this is the second number of the decimal. This calculator will do that for you. I'm going to teach you a little trick right now to show you how that can be done. You see this mode button right here? Push the mode button. Do you see how right now it's highlighted on float? Okay? You can go down to where it's flashing on float. If you move it to 1, it will round to the tenths. If you move it to 2, it will round to the hundredths. Now, if something doesn't want you to round anything, you need to get back to that float. All right? So now that it's flashing on 2, I'm going to hit enter. And if you notice, it's on 2, so I can hit second and quit. Now watch, when I put my numbers in, it's going to automatically round to the nearest hundredth. And that's what I wanted this exercise to be done. So, 2 times second pi times 3 times 6. Enter. You see, it gives me 2 decimal places after, and it's rounding to the nearest hundredth. Okay? If I had done that, okay, so it's rounding to the nearest hundredth. If I had done that without rounding to the nearest, without putting that in there, it would have given me this number, 113.097. Okay, and that 7 would have made this a 0, and that comes over here and makes that a 1, and that's rounding to the nearest hundredth. But now my calculator automatically did it for me. So I can write here 113.10 plus, and I'm going to do 2 times second pi times 3 squared, and I'm going to hit enter, and it'll round it to the nearest hundredth, and that's 56.55. Okay, now I can add them together. 50, let's see, I was taking a shortcut. 113.10 plus 56.55, and that gives me 169.65. Now that is total, 169.65, and as before, everything in front of the plus sign is my lateral, 113.10. So it will automatically round it to the nearest hundredth. And for this lesson, we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. All right? So what did it say? It said circle your base, label O, but that's a D because it's all the way across, isn't it? Label your R. So if I have 10 divided by 2, I get 5. So my R is 5 and my H is 11. Okay? Here's my formula. I want you to go back to that formula chart. I want you to look at that formula chart and write it down. SA equals 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. Okay? Then we're going to come here and we're going to fill in our information. 2 times pi times, my radius is 5, times my height is 11, plus, do you see how I leave lots of spaces between my letters, my numbers and letters and variables? It just makes things stay clear. 2 times pi times, what's R? 5 squared, okay? Then it's a matter of putting in my calculator. I have 2 times second pi times 5 times 11. Hit enter. 345.58, because remember I have my calculator set to round, plus then I need to put 2 times second pi times 5 squared, and I get 157.08. And I'm going to combine those two. Now, some of you know by now I can take my last answer and I can hit the plus key. And see how it says answer? It's taking that number right there. It's actually working backwards, but it'll be fine because all we're doing is addition. 345.58. And I have, remember, I'm a lazy mathematician. I will take shortcuts whenever I can, but I will only do that when it makes sense, and I will get the answer. 502.66 is my total. Right here is my lateral, 345.50. Oh, I'm not letting you see it. 0.58. Make sure you are making those dots dark so that you can see them. Okay. All right, let's flip over. Let's try one more together. Ooh, this one has a decimal. So first step, write your formula. SA equals, I want you to write it. Two pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. Okay, so make this, I circle my base. Some of you stopped circling your bases when you were doing triangles and rectangles, and then you wonder why. Remember, a triangular prism is the triangle. The base on a rectangular prism is what it's sitting on. It's a rectangle that it's sitting on, okay? For a cylinder, it's a circle, okay? So this looks like it's only halfway, so that's my R. And then this is my H, okay? So I have 2 times pi times, oh, what's my R? 2.5 times H, which is 12, plus 2 times pi times, what's my R? 2.5 squared, okay? So let's put that in the calculator. I get 2 times second pi times 2.5 times 12. And that gives me 188.50 plus 2 times second pi times 2.5 squared. And that gives me 39.27. And then I'm going to add those two together. 188.50 plus 39.27. And I get 227.77, 227.77. Remember, your lateral is everything before the plus sign. 188.50. Make sure you're writing your numbers so that they're legible and that you can read them. And it says you try. So I want you to try that. Make sure you show your answers to your teacher before you get the practice sheet. Today, you only have 4 small problems to do, all right? But you will have 8 quizzes to finish, all right? Have a great day, and we'll see you on the other side.